See, finance ministry, the government, the PM, everybody heard you always. This is people's government. So it has been listening to everybody. The entire intention of linking of Aadhar to all the services which were there all these days is to bring in transparency, which I've been talking about in all your channel events. This will also bring in efficiency of public funds. It will also eliminate any unscrupulous elements who would like to play around with public funds and do black marketing or probably black hoarding of cash. So now this is what's done. A date extension is a regular administrative procedure which has been done, and if it has been done because of people's view, it is very good. It is a part of a regular exercise. We should not read too much about this, and we will wait for the court tomorrow to come out and give us directions. See, the communication of government is defined. The gazetteer, official gazetteer is the only way government communicates with the larger population. So the official gazetteer is there, and the gazetteer has been published as per the norms. Other information disseminating tools, that may be Twitter, that may be any other way, is addition to the gazetteer. It is to speed in the process. Access to gazetteer is to limited people. People don't know how to search it out. So it is faster to see that on the Twitter or other websites. So government also takes help of this particular percolation. It is in the interest of people. Rather, all my previous speakers or the panelists should have appreciated that. Apart from the gazetteer, the departments, the ministries took pain to actually come out on the Twitters and other social media channels to disseminate the information fast. We will have to understand the intention is to eliminate people who are doing rot, to bring in transparency.
Okay.
The intention was supported with initiation of bringing people to connect their Aadhar and the services. Now, when this intention was challenged, we also clarified in all the forums, not only in the court, outside the court, in the public forums and channel like yours, that the intentions are really good and this can be done up. Now, let us break the problem. If there is a technical hitch, that can be debated separately. If there is an issue of privacy, that can be debated and the court can give us a ruling. If there is an issue of deadline, that also can be debated either in the house, outside the house, in the court, outside the court. But the intent cannot be challenged. The intent is right. The present does not change. This particular order, if you see the gazetteer which says about notification date, does not change the present. The present will remain the same. So please understand, this is what the elected governments do. They listen to the people. They also help the people. If there is limitations of shortage of staff, shortage of implementation, something due to enforcement issue, many times the dates are extended. You see in income tax also, the dates have been extended. The 31st October is generally date. It gets extended. There is a reason to do it. So many times the dates are extended. This does not mean changing of position. The position is there. But you are a welfare state. You are an elected government. For the betterment of people, you always do the things. Now let me answer only one. The earlier panelist, you used a word, very harsh word like illegal, contempt of courts and all. Please restrain from this. Government does not do anything which is illegal, and had we done anything which is illegal or contempt of court, Supreme Court would have pointed it out. So do not give judgments. You are nobody to give this kind of judgments, especially on a public television or platform. So please restrain.
All right.
So all my previous panelists and the listeners and the audience right now, in my individual capacity also, whenever I have come on the debate and the questions have been raised, immediately after the debate, if you see my Twitter account, I have responded back to the questions which I was unable to answer because of paucity of time or if I didn't have the information. So people within the government, outside the government, people trying to implement this are very, very responsive and they care about this. I individually have marked the Faye DSouza on that, all the tweets which I have marked that day. Probably 14 or 15 communications which were done in the last program itself. To answer the previous panelists from the Congress, which asked them where is the consultative this thing, there are parliamentary committees, standing committees, there are these representatives of Congress who are there and they speak in this particular part. As you are not elected representative, probably you have not been a part of this kind of consultative committees, but these have been discussed at various levels. Okay, and whenever there is a white paper which comes up, various people participate. There is also information which has been taken from various sources, and basis of these various sources, one among them may be media, social media, maybe other representations. Government takes a lot of decisions. Now this particular order of extending, it is not an extension of date. It is talking about where the notification will come out, which is the extended date. This is in the interest of the larger people. Now you should appreciate that. Now, just because one individual, you are not being invited, does not mean that the consultation is not going on. All the member of parliaments, which may be from your party also, are there to represent. If they really feel that this was not done, they can raise this up in the house once again when the winter session initiates. So this has been very transparent. Number two, privacy issue will be debated in court. So there is no one authorized to speak on that particular part. And I particularly do not feel in my individual capacity there is any challenge of privacy. The data is highly secured, technically competent. If there is a suggestion by somebody which can be implemented, it will be done. So, no government wants to harass their people.
Yeah, so Vinit, why don't the banks know, and why will the banks stop harassing? Will the banks stop sending those messages and making those phone calls?
Let me complete. My request is that I am listening. You have to be fair with me, Faye ji.
Okay, go ahead.
You'll have to be fair with me.
Go ahead.
Be fair. So when you try to implement, if I go back to legacy, when voter cards were given, photo identity card, everybody made a hue and cry. But we all experienced that has brought down the bogus votes. It also brought in transparency in the election process. We all appreciated it. When PAN card was brought, people started making hue and cry. Now let me part up two people. There are one genuine people who want to make noise of this because they feel the fundamental rights will be challenged. They are welcome to go to the court, come on debating table. But there is a section of society which does hanky-panky work and they would like to make noise because they think that their kala karnamas will come out. Now, if you see the real poor, the real beneficiary, they are actually welcoming this kind of step of connecting. Transparency will help reduce the common exchequer's expenditure. Please understand, transparency is the best thing which is there. And technological transparency will always reduce agencies of discretion. If we reduce the agencies of discretion, we will not see scams like what we saw in UPA. No. See, Mr. Khan will appreciate their government had a lot of scams because there was no transparency. This current government is transparent. We are very serious about business, so there are no scams.
I appreciate that they sent a spokesperson.
That's the only difference between a scam.
Okay. So let me focus back on the issues and the questions.
I'm not a spokesperson.
One of the questions was, how come the banks don't have this information?
Can I respond to him quickly?
Yes, Mohammad Khan, I'm going to come to you. One of the questions we want to answer in the next in this show is, when will the banks
have this information? Miss Faye, the banks have the information. If the particular manager is on it, let the respondent come out and tell them which manager of the branch. In the last debate also, I asked them, please allow us to understand which particular bank is it. We will educate them.
Right.
Now, this may be an issue of education which we are trying to do through various sources. Now, somebody raised it, why did you come out of the Twitter? See, we are trying to use every channel to educate.
Mohammad Khan wants to rebut. Mohammad Khan,
in the earlier panelist
Vinit Goenka says there was consultation. Members of the opposition were party to the consultation.
Has created all the problems. 70 years, आपने तो राज किया है।
Let's not talk about the last time.
आपके ने create problems है, हमारे problem नहीं है, हम तो साफ कर रहे हैं आपके problems.
I will address you.
So let me answer one by one. The earlier person who raised the question of connecting it with the voter's ID. In my individual capacity, I'm repeating, in my individual capacity, I'll be more than happy to introduce this. And probably maybe in days to come, I may write to the relevant people, why not have a discussion on this and connect this with the voting also. So that we eliminate whatever remaining glitches which are there in the election system. The Public Representative Act can be also amended. So I would request in my individual capacity. This is not the party stand or the government stand. Number two, where the senior citizen talked about having a pain when they go through it. Earlier programs also we have discussed. If there are sick people, if there are senior citizens who may face this kind of glitches, there are provisions which have been done by the CSCs and the agents there out there in the field who come to their houses and help them out. If there has been an individual who have been not so comfortable talking, please let us know. We will try to correct him. We will try to educate him. In my individual speech also, if I have hurt somebody, I can correct myself. Now let me come on this. The intention of reforms can be only implemented when it has been done very seriously and very fast.
Yes.
A reform cannot be implemented over an elongated period. And when it is done very fast and very structured manner, some people may feel the heat. Some people may create a feeling of heat. Sir, we are not trying to create any heat. This is a structured, very systematic business as usual process which has been going on. This will really yield some results. And maybe probably in the years to come, you will thank us for this particular thing. You will remember us for doing this particular act.